and welcome to another episode of the TwinPod. My name is Cameron Charles, and to my left-hand side, I have my twin brother, Cameron Charles. The young man to my right-hand side has been highly requested. Hulle vra, jy was dok man, jy was dok. And finally we have the first medical doctor from Menenberg, Dr. Randall. So, welcome to the TwinPod. How are you doing?
No, I'm great, man. Thank you very much, guys. All I want to say is you guys are monochorionic, man.
Doc, it's a big word, man.
You came from one placenta, because you're identical.
Wow.
You didn't go into that part of the twinning, eh? You get identical twins and you get unidentical twins.
That is
one placenta.
Zygotic and monozygotic.
Well, if you want to put it like that, mono must mean one.
Okay.
So it's one placenta, two bags.
Very technical.
But anyway, that's off the topic. Now that's just to set the mood.
Okay. Doc, we are very excited. We have many questions.
Yeah.
You know, personal questions about your career, about Menenberg, about life in general. Before we get into that, let's not assume, people know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so just give us a bit of background about yourself. And then I know this has been a rehearsal for you by now.
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. And I think every time I have to speak about myself, it does it differently all the time.
Okay.
Because it allows you to reflect. Where you come from, and every time you reflect with a different experience as where you come from, and it hits home a little bit better sometimes, and you get to prepare a little bit better also. So I'm Randall Ortel. I'm all the way from Menenberg.
Okay.
Like they say on the Cape Flats. So just remind me, we must explain what the Cape Flats is, because I still find people being confused, like what Cape Flats really is. So I'm from Menenberg, born and bred, grew up here on the cement roads of Menenberg. I like to say that. So our roads were not tarred, but currently they're in the process of tarring it, so there's some upgrades.
30 years later?
Yeah, so, well, maybe a little bit longer, 1964. Maybe a little bit longer, so almost 60 years. Okay. But I think the road served us well, and that's why I played. So I went to primary school in Menenberg, Primary, and then I went all the way to Rhodes High School in Mowbray. At the time, my dad got a bursary or scholarship, whatever they called it. I was just told, I got to high school, you're going to wear a blazer. So again, it comes down to what people saw. So they saw might in a blazer. And that's how we knew this, like, your previously Model C schools.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't regret it at all. I mean, I loved school, every bit of it. The friends, the academics, the outings, the hardships, the downs, the ups, I think school was great. I mean, just interacting with people is the best way to build experience. So I was there, didn't know what I wanted to do. Long story short, I ended up studying medicine, becoming a doctor, studying at the University of Stellenbosch. I applied for everything under the sun.
Okay.
Engineering, law, dentistry. So I got in. I didn't know what to choose. I asked my dad, what's a dairy? Spraak mos Afrikaans. What's a dairy? What's a dairy? I said, gaan wees 'n dokter? Mense raak altyd siek. That was just my I don't know if he obviously didn't rehearse it or anything, and maybe didn't understand the magnitude, but he just said, gaan wees 'n dokter, mense raak altyd siek. And that's it.
It is after grade 12, straight after grade 12 you went to study, or
Yeah, straight after grade 12. No gap year.
No gap year.
No gap year. So at that time, I mean, I'm going to give away my age, but I mean, I was matric in 2002. So at that time, in October month of your matric year, you already know you accepted for the following year.
Okay.
Because we knew the results came out on the 31st of December. So you had to apply to the universities by March or May.
With your third report.
With your grade 11 report.
Okay.
Right? With your end of grade 11 report, you apply in the May year of matric, and then by September, October you have your answer. If you're in or not. So, and then obviously when you get your matric results on 31st December, then I mean that's just a cherry on the top. You know what I mean? Because obviously you just have to show that you made it through grade 12, and then obviously you start in February. So I knew in October already that I was in, and I think that was my extra motivation for my matric exams. Yes, I gave it my all, man. I wanted to show these people, no, thanks for accepting. And I gave it my best shot in matric.
So just on that, did you fall in love with the profession? Because you mentioned that you applied for different. So did you fall in love with being a doctor, or was it always part of you to become a doctor?
Yeah. No, I fell in love with the profession. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Because for a Menenberg, we have limited exposure.
Okay.
I didn't even know what medicine is. Do you understand? Like, I mean, I did aptitude testing on school, and it kicks out all these things, and it says, look, you must work in a professional environment with people, caring, and so forth. Because, you know, aptitude tests ask you questions, and it wants to see where you fit in. I mean, number one that came out was a veterinarian, you know, working with animals. But I thought, hey, bro, there's something wrong with this computer. Because, I mean, I'm not an animal lover, but maybe I gave some sort of dog response. Because I know that time my favorite song was Who Let the Dogs Out. So maybe, you know, maybe I came across the doggy there, man, you know, and it said I must be a veterinarian, but that's how it became. So look, I think one of the other things that played a role in me obviously also deciding to choose medicine is, I don't know if you guys know Dr. Abu Maulana. He was up there by the tavern, just above Dr. Peterson's surgery is there.
Yes.
Right, so Dr. Abu Maulana was there, so he was a good friend of my dad, and you know, I played cricket, you know, all our years there at Primrose Park Primary with Sally Davids, the cricket coach and so forth, and we ended up playing for Manenberg Cricket Club. I mean, Mr. Blom was our coach that stayed in Audrey Court here. AP hulle almal hier om, Assie hulle almal, hy was ons team geweest, like, I mean, we were like well feared. You know, Pang was a coach geweest. Ja.
Wat was ook geweest?
Bowler. Well, I was Brian McMillan by my hands, man. I was at big hands. So ek was first slip. So ek feel nie meer. First slip. That's a wicket keeper.
Okay, ek sien dat ja.
And then the other thing is this, ja, dat klap my mense weer skool.
Op die pot.
Ons skrikkie is it.
Desensitize.
Yeah, we're just waiting. Who's the next victim? So sort of. Look, that's actually a bad way to sensitize, but anyway.
Yeah.
So no, we played cricket, and look, I was a batsman. I was an all-rounder. So ek het sommer by die bowler gesien, my bro. Ek het die hele dag bid. Ek wil mos nie skool hou nie, man. As hy vroeg uit is, ek moet skool hou, man. Verstaan jy? Because wat maak dit nou terwyl die ander ouens nog anders? So ek het altyd seker gemaak, I'm not out nie.
As mama.
Meneer, I'm always not out. Kijk je, dan is die captain so gazat, my bro. I hope I can use that word on the podcast. Kijk je, als ik misschien op 99 had die klees op my bro. But ik weet die hele dag, maar ik weet die niet, because I never wanted to keep score. So as a batsman, I chipped the bowler, you know, to upset the bowler. And then obviously I was an all-rounder. I was medium pace. So yeah, no, I just kept you there, man. Kept the runs down. So the only way I lost my wicket was a run out. Because I was chubby that time.
Okay.
Sien jy nou? So.
Okay.
En as 'n staartjie wickets.
Hulle kan wat ook aan gekry. As hy bet moet hulle.
But I was going to be illegal to get that run. Yeah, I'm not injured. But anyway, so Dr. Abu Maulana obviously played cricket with my dad. We played in the 3rd division at that time. And then it's on a Saturday afternoon. Okay. So in the morning you play your junior league or whatever. 12 o'clock, half past 12 you're done. 1:45 is the senior match. So, and you're there. Do you understand? So I saw him, at that time he bought like drinks and KFC or, you know, snacks for everyone. And the away team. Now, remember we're going to speak about what we show and what we portray.
There we go.
Right? So for me as a youngster, all my mind told me is this guy's got money. Because that time it wasn't the plastic fantastic, you know, the plastic fantastic is the bank card. It was hard cash. So I don't know why they have to lick their thumb to count the money. Do you ever notice?
Yeah.
The older people always lick their thumb. I don't know why. Why can't they lick the index finger? They always lick their thumb, you know, to count the money. Count the money and say, no, can buy drinks. Even for the away team.
Wow.
So for me, that obviously attracted attention, man. So what I saw at that time was, doctor equals money. You understand? And then what my dad said, go and study medicine, go and be a doctor, people always get sick. So I now know people were going to be sick, but I know a doctor equals money. I knew nothing about the profession. So I know I gave a long-winded answer now, but I actually fell in love with the profession while I was studying. You know why? Because as people found out I'm studying for a doctor, hulle kom sommer na die huis toe mos.
Wat nou?
Pille of advice. Ek het nog die brief gekry by die hospitaal. What does this mean, man?
Okay.
What mean die doc? Now you explain to them, and you know what, lo and behold, when I write exams, then those same questions come in. So isn't that divine intervention? No? Because now I had an explanation to this person. Now sometimes you don't know. So here or there, I gave a rounded answer, not to the point, because I didn't know at that time. So that prompted me to go to my books and to go and read them.
Ja.
More as ek excited om my auntie te kry. Ek het soek sommer vir haar, wat sê kykie? Last night I gave you a little bit of information, short. Can I just add to what I said now?
And that's
You
your.
understand? That's a practice.
As I want to
Correct? You know, it's for free. Because at that time I was still studying.
Okay.
So I can safely say, I spent billions in Manenberg for free healthcare. Because I must do all the calculations of the hours that I've put in. Not that I'm counting, but I think I can safely say. And I mean, you know, like I said, as I went through the years, now I started picking up, it must buy for me. But you know, the older people always tell you, free equals blessings.
Doc, you know what? Now I'm battling with this as well, right? And I told you, Kevin, when you have some level of education, and you're from a, poor township, I don't know if it is an unwritten rule, but it is implied that you must give back. I don't know, right? Who made this rule? Do you feel that way? That you have this responsibility to give back to your people, to Manenberg, even though it's not mutual?
Yeah. So, look, the simple answer is outrightly is yes, I do feel obligated to put back.
Okay.
Now, the obligation comes from the fact that I'm knowing. Because when you're educated, you know more than the average person.
I get you.
And you know more in the field that you are moving in than the average person. So it comes down to ethics as well. So if I see something that's going to be detrimental to the next person, because they don't know it's going to be detrimental, do I keep quiet or do I say something? Now, for instance, simple example.
Okay.
If I see the kids bursting firecrackers, there's a big chance that they can get burns of their hands, third-degree burns of their hands.
Yeah.
They can get burns of their face, they can burn their eye. Remember, eye is irreplaceable. I mean, I can replace your eye, but it's going to be like a glass. Dan kry jy weer bynaam soos vis of iets soos daai wat die oog doodstil staan. Do you understand? And people are unapologetic on the Cape Flats. Do you understand? Because I mean, that eye is not going to move as your normal anatomy. So, is it right for me to keep quiet, or is it right for me to say, you're going to burn? Now, that kids don't understand it at that point in time. So I go to the person that sells it.
Okay.
And then I will say to them, look, it's not going to work. The other thing is this, what you mustn't forget is our context, where we come from, our context. Manenberg. You know, I'm proud to be from Manenberg because there is no other doctor. Well, apart from those that's coming through the ranks now, that came through, my foundation and so forth. There's no other doctor that can say they are from Manenberg. I don't know of any other doctor here in Manenberg. Well, there's doctors that work in Manenberg.
Yes.
But there's not doctors that's from Manenberg.
It's a big difference, huh?
So remember, if you need to explain to somebody something, it comes down to a language. I mean, we've got 12 official languages in the country. Sign language being number one, it's a language. But now, you did linguistics. So I always ask people, what are the 4 official languages in the Western Cape? So it's English, Afrikaans, Xhosa, or isiXhosa, or depending which school you go to, you'll say Xhosa.
Okay.
And then there's Gam. Because die mense altyd met dinge se see. Nou wat is dit dinges? It's unwritten. But hy is hoe se mense praat.
Doc, how do you examine someone accurately when they are unable to articulate themselves? Like the balance between that?
Yeah.
Like a language barrier.
Yeah.
So look, the thing is this now. That's what I'm saying is that's where the knowledge comes from, right? So you have the knowledge of something that you've studied. Because there's certain things that a patient will tell you, which is a symptom. But there's certain things that you need to look for as a doctor or a medical professional, which is called a sign. So you need to rule in or rule out your suspicion based on a sign and the symptoms that the patient gives you.
Yeah.
And then you will do side room investigations. That's like testing the urine, doing the blood pressure, doing the cholesterol level, doing the glucose levels. Those are side room tests. Then you go to investigations like blood tests and x-rays and so forth to rule in or rule out what your suspicion is.
So how do you communicate
that to the patient?
Yeah.
Right. So you speak the language that they can understand. So you'll have to use words that is part of the common lingo. And what I sometimes find is that is sometimes the patient's only vocabulary.
Yo.
So ek moet vir hulle sê jou hart is seer of jou longe is pap of you have to use those words because that is what goes around. Now, what's also important is you need to understand what does pap mean for them. So ek vra vir die patient, as ek nou vir jou sê, jou longe weet jy lekker nie, man, jou longe is pap. Wat beteken ek daarby? Nou sê hulle miskien, as ek op my rug lê, kan ek nie asemhaal nie. But that's maybe not what I meant. Do you understand? Now I give them a different wording. So what I'm trying to say is that comes with experience now, or as to what I've seen. Because that's why I'm so passionate about lecturing, like the medical students, because most of the medical students that train in the Western Cape is not from the Western Cape. They are outside. I mean, they come to the universities here.
Okay.
So they don't know the lingo.
It's a problem.
They don't know exactly what the Cape Flats is. So can you see what I'm saying is, if I am knowledgeable about something, is it right to keep quiet? Or is it right to voice your opinion? And that is what you call activism. I mean, we're going to speak about Youth Day.
Yeah.
Right?
Coming up.
I mean, in 1976, I hope my memory serves me well.
So wait up, right?
Right?
Here we go.
The students kept a peaceful protest against Afrikaans because the government wanted to make Afrikaans an official language in school.
Yeah.
And they had a peaceful protest. Now somebody there had to say to them, this is an avenue of how we can protest. Somebody there needed to have the knowledge to say this is how you oppose to something. Somebody there needed to have the knowledge to say what the government says is not always right. Somebody there needed to say, guys, but there's a different way of looking at something. And that rounds people up. So remember, knowledge is power when you use it correctly. Now that's the first part, is knowledge. The second part that comes with it is skill. Now where do you pick up skills? Skills you pick up by practicing. That's what's called the medical practice. Ons practice elke dag. Skills is honed by practicing. So you can take that anywhere you want to. Mathematics, biology, whatever.
Yeah.
I know of skillful house executives. Hulle was elke dag op. So hulle gaat vir jou sê, as hy die op was, ja, raad was met die koppies. So hulle gaat vir jou
Chips bakkers.
ja, hulle gaat vir jou sê, kyk jy, hoe kan raad het so met die skore gedaan? Hulle is maar professional, hulle weet al om die koppies te was en so. Do you understand? That's a skill. It comes by doing every day. Then the part that you need to add to it is your attitude. So your attitude determines your altitude.
There we go.
You understand? As jy die hele gaat doen met voete wat sliep, dan gaan jou skoene mos gauw afloop. So it depends how you do it. So if you do it with passion, you know, even a deaf person can see you've got passion.
Can you say that again?
Hoe sien jy?
A deaf
A deaf
person
person.
can see you've got passion. Usually your passion is portrayed in your speaking. Like I hope I'm coming across passionately on this podcast.
Here we go.
Do you understand? So if somebody's deaf and they can't hear me, they'll see my body language, they'll see my hand gestures, they'll see my eyes. Because those are also signs that we look at. Some patients tell you they're okay, but I can see the tears in their eye. You know, I see that mense sluk die hele tyd. So how do you know if somebody's really crying or not? Or was it an answered illness? Maybe there's something educational I can give to the patient. No, I don't know. Do you guys know? So remember, if you cry, you close your eyes and the tears goes into this duct here,
Yes.
and it runs through your nose. Man. Your niche loop as a heel, man. Nou as mense huil dan hulle niche loopie. Dit mos aansit.
Is it?
So go back and look at a few things. I don't want to mention any names of stuff here now, but go back and look on YouTube or whatever people that cry.
But some people, they record them crying, right? So I mean, how do you put the recording on then, cry and then...
Look, some people is really sad, man.
Okay.
And this is my view now. I mean, I'm on social media. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm big. I am big.
You are.
But I mean, I'm on social media, like I'm on TikTok or whatever. Well, I mean, if people, want to recognize me as an influencer, they can.
Maar ik heb my dog gezien met Uncle C eat against me.
Oh, yeah, no, look, I ate against, but I didn't swallow it. Remember, that's the important part, man. You can chew it. But I mean, what's unhealthy is if you swallow it. Because the minute you swallow it, you lose control. Because we say no was a sluk by Peggy, sluk sy. Swallow. Nobody says that. Who says to the stomach, okay, you can empty out now?
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a question that you were on now, that you were on about. I know we're just going back and forth, but I mean, oh yes, if somebody truly cries, hulle nie sal loop.
Is that like the sign?
Well, because remember, you close your eye is like a wiper. So you've got the iliodactyl duct on the inside of your eye.
Okay.
And that drains into your nose.
So
Hy stuk. Wat hy?
It can be that means I last night hulle nies uit, man. They blow their nose.
Yes.
They blow their nose.
Doc, I want to speak about our healthcare.
Yes.
What do you think? What is wrong? Why isn't there a system in place for our elderly people, for example?
Yeah.
Why must they stay in long lines?
You know, so this is my view. It's my opinion. I'm representing myself here
Okay.
with my view. I'm gonna say to you is, or let me first pose this question to you. Why is South Africa in so much trouble, but we have so many tertiary graduated people? So,
Brain drain?
are we following trends or behavior or tradition, or do we truly adopt the academics, or is the academics that we are taught not contextually synchronizable? Like, I know I'm using a lot of big words, but what I can say is, so number one, I will take that responsibility on me, that question, and that is something that I see.
Yes.
Why is and that's only a certain population group, why is our elderly waiting so long? Now there's various factors. There's only a few hospitals. I mean, you can Google right now. There's 26,500 schools in South Africa. Just Google it out. Private, public, whatever, mixed.
You're right.
26,500 or 24,500. But if you Google now, there's only about 5,500 hospitals. Private and public mixed.
Yo.
I mean,
Yeah, but isn't it like a system they can maybe?
so I'm going to tell you now, there's a system. There are systems in place. I mean, I make a simple example. There's a booking system. So we say to the patient, I'm just making an example, come at 9 o'clock. That person is so traditionally drilled. They still at the hospital at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's another way long.
But the card says 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now they say to you is, but I was here since 5 o'clock. Now all I say is, auntie, of uncle, as baie byna wat dat 'n uncle is wat die mans is baie bang vir die hospitaal. Hulle sê auntie, wys my gou van jou kaartjie man.
Okay.
Asseblief, nou wys jy die kaartjie daar.
9 o'clock.
Ek moet die dogter. Hulle sê mos nie die dokter nie.
Dogter.
Ek moet die dogter. Ek moet die dogter 9 o'clock sien. Is al 10 pas 9 al, ek wag al 4 ure. Sê auntie. Auntie 5 o'clock ook. Ons die auntie by die huis kwaan. You understand? So there's that traditional aspect that plays a role. Number 2 is information. So how does that auntie know she can only come at 9:15 or at 8:30 because her folder will be ready?
Okay.
So health promotion, health education, health information, is it out there? Is the health system competing on podcasts the way we are competing now? Do we compete in that way? How do we get information to people? What made me famous, if I can call it that way, is I spoke medical stuff that people can relate to. So now I've got over 80,000 followers just because I'm saying the same thing that another doctor can say, but I'm saying it in the local lingo.
Yes.
And I'm more accessible. So accessibility is something that we're talking about. There's no hospital in Manenberg. Where's the hospital in Manenberg?
Yeah.
There's nothing here. There's a clinic which is managed by the municipality.
Okay.
But they will tell you straight.
What's the story with the hospital? What's happening?
No, the hospital is coming. Let me give you that inside
Okay, yes.
info.
For the viewers.
No, the hospital is coming. It's going to be a beautiful hospital, 6 stories high. It's going to be over 600 beds, and we're going to have all the services that is required, from pediatrics to childbirth to psychiatry, which is needed.
Yes.
Right? To surgery, to medicine, and so forth. You remember the Groote Schuur Hospital? I worked there. I had the privilege to work there, and I still go to the site now because they're building it. I had the privilege to work there. We only had like medicine and surgery, and we had a little bit of psychiatry, and we had no children.
No children.
There was no pediatrics. It was all Red Cross. There was no delivery of babies. It was all Mowbray.
Yeah.
So do you understand? There was limited services that was offered. The hospital unfortunately closed down in 2013.
Okay.
Right, due to various political reasons and so forth, and that's how the Mitchells Plain District Hospital gave birth, right? Or that's how Chooster gave birth to Mitchells Plain District Hospital, because most of the staff moved there. And I can say, I mean, even on this platform, I mean, I was one of the doctors that protested in inverted commas to say, like, why must the hospital close? We didn't get the answers. And I mean, at that time I was not that experienced.
Okay.
So obviously you believe easily.
I get
Yeah.
you.
because you don't have a lot of reference. But one of the reasons why I protested in such a way was that we had a high care unit here. So people that now in the medical space will understand a high care unit is not the same as a normal ward. A high care, there's higher acuity, there's more nurses, like we can do more stuff, we can monitor you more closely. After high care you go to ICU, that's where you can't speak, lees onder pype, soos die ouens wat jy buite sê, ek gaan vir jou stiek laat jy onder pype lê. Julle moet gehoor hoe praat die ouens hier. So that's high care. And the reason why I say I felt sad when we lost it is because many times we had patients coming here with a stab heart or a gunshot chest or something through the heart. We would operate, open up the heart, plug the hole, and then breathe, let the person breathe here, and then a few days later the person walks out of hospital. He lives with a scar, but he's got his life.
Yes.
I can mention and I can take you guys to people that I have operated on with obviously the surgeons while I was at the hospital as a junior doctor. And they still have the scars. The stitches are not going to go away, but they still have the scars. I see them, they greet me. That also brought a little bit of fame, if I can put it that way, to myself, because hulle sal sê my broer, daai man het my bors opgemaak. My broer, daai man het my mag sien dat dis my. Like there's people that will get me as hulle sê, this guy opened me up. Do you understand? So it makes you feel some type of a way. It makes you feel like, there is actually something that people can celebrate. They don't only have to celebrate the, what these areas are known for. I don't even want to mention it because we need to compete with it. So in terms of healthcare, then obviously it comes down to budget. So who's controlling the pot? It's not in our hands, man. Do you understand? So that is what I'm saying is, when we become educated, we must become that voice for the community so that we are recognized. And so that we can also have inputs at the tables.
Doc, I completely understand what you're saying, but how do you have a voice when you're not aligned to a political party?
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Look, so that is I'll call it, that's the context, man, or the climate at the moment.
Okay.
Right? And now this is my stance. I've always been apolitical.
Apolitical.
I've always voted.
Okay.
I've always voted. But I'm apolitical in terms of I don't belong to a political party. Yes, I'll do work with the Premier. I did the vaccine campaign with the Premier and so forth. The PA invited me to some of the academic events, the Good Party at the time. So I made it clear to all the councillors or all the affiliated politicians that, listen, when I come and speak at your event, I'm not a member. I'm a South African citizen. I am coming to deliver the message that you are asking me to deliver. If you say you wanted motivation or you wanted education and so forth. So how does one do that? So now this opens up the cloud for us to be innovative. I got my message out there through an online platform, which is TikTok.
Yeah.
So people notice you, people start inviting you. And what is the most important thing for me, man, is consistency. So I'm lacking in my consistency now because on a Monday night, every Monday night I had a live.
I know about that, yeah.
But the requirements of me, because obviously at work I also progress, in position and so forth. So, your timing is not always there, and that's something that I feel deep, man, because I know there's people that have that expectation on a Monday night at 8 o'clock, Doc will be on TikTok. And I have open sessions and open questions where we discuss, because the feedback that I get from there is enormous, and it allows me to look at the two systems. Like, I'm in the health space, I work in the health space. We see things in a certain way, but the patients or the people that use the service sees it in a different way. Now, how do we marry that two? Now, that also comes to an answer to your question. Why does the people wait so long? The way they see the service and the way we see it is not congruent. It's not the same. And until we get to that point, we're going to have teething issues. People will be helped. The service will be open. People will be helped, but there will always be challenges. Because something is not synchronizing. I played that Tetris game when I was younger. You understand? The shapes must fit, me, bro.
Yeah.
The shapes must fit in order to win. So you see, now I've got more experience. Now I look back into the games that I played when I was younger. Tetris on the phone or Snake or whatever. Like, if the stuff don't align, you don't get points. So if we don't align our systems, the way we see things, we're always going to have conflict. We're not going to have a solution. So I can say to you is the health system has systems in place. Can the community say they have a system in place? So who's educating the elderly people not to go at 5 o'clock? From the community side. Because there's also a user of the service. Do you understand?
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say is that we need to look at things from all angles. Holistically, like they say. So if I look at this cup standing here in the front, there's TwinPod, but at the back it can be blank.
Now there's another logo at the back.
But I didn't see it. You see?
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
There we go.
Now when do you see things? When your mind is open. So the eyes can only see what the mind knows.
Yes. Don't you care about fame?
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't know.
About numbers, stats, the reinforcement?
Now look, data doesn't lie.
Okay.
So I like numbers, I like stats. I give you a simple example.
You like your name?
Well, I do love my name. I mean, I love my name. I basically love the nickname of Doc because, you know, it comes with a certain stature. And when people meet you and they say, oh, you are down to earth, then I say to them, of course, man. How does somebody that weighs 100 kilos walk in the air? They moet op die grond loop, man. Waar gaan ze loop? They come on in the loop. So you have to be down to earth. And I mean, the minute you connect with people in that way, despite the stature, and remember, I'm not putting my stature out there. Stature is put by the public.
I get you.
Or by the community.
Doc, you have achieved a lot in your
Short space.
What's your aim in life?
Yeah, what's the ultimate goal?
What's the goal?
My aim is to have people follow me, man. So the thing is this, you get a conqueror, and you get more than a conqueror. Conquerors are people like we've made it here, man. Like, I mean, we've dodged bullets, we've dodged you know, certain circumstances. I mean, ek het ook gehad toe sekere mense so geld uitgegooi het, like Mustangs en goede dan and all. Like we know those things. Like we, you know, I was in the mix here. You know, we made it. We didn't like go with that crowd, and then with not going with that crowd, it enabled us to achieve other things. You know, more things was opened up to us instead of just being like blocked here. So my thing is this. I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to a lot of things. Now, experience only comes from exposure. So the more you have people following you that you can show, they will actually become greater than you. Because remember, as they're moving past you, they are still pulling you along. Which means they will always say, "Ja, was dit nie wat talking." Was ek hier. Now, we spoke about this just before we started. Baie mense gaan maar sê ons breek. Like we boast. We want to show what we have. But what does the kids see, man? Kids don't have the understanding. They do what they see. They emulate. Die ladies hier by ons, hulle bring hier rondom met guns, like plastic guns, hulle speel. Why? They see that the kids don't watch movies. I don't see westerns anymore on TV. There's no YouTube and Cocomelon. Ek sien nie Cocomelon met 'n gun nie. En hulle loop so nie rond nie. Where does the kids see it, man? So they emulate what they see. I mean, I told you guys before I walked here, there's a few boys with school uniform chipping away at the road to get the iron out of the concrete slab. School going kids.
Wat het jy gesien?
Where did they see it? The older folk that does that takes the cables, you know, and it's synchronized. Now that's why I'm saying to you guys is, like, if we can show a better part, okay, let's not say better, because sometimes, you know, us as educated people, we also make mistakes, or, you know, but it also depends on the community and how they view it. But let's say if somebody has a different exposure, and they can show somebody something different, then you don't have to say much. That person will know how they felt at that point in time. I mean, 2-3 weeks ago, I took other kids to the airport. Yeah, you know, luckily I took a pee, man. Before I took them to the airport, others as ek gehuil het in my oë. The first time kids see an aeroplane.
Yes.
Like, and that's through a window.
Your dog?
Yes. And we're staying 3 kilometers from the airport. 3 kilometers from Cape Town International Airport. So you see, sometimes things are happening. Planes are landing, planes are going up. It becomes a norm for us. You don't see it anymore. So, are we going to be educated, and it becomes a norm that we are educated, so we only educate our families, so it becomes a norm to us, and then we forget the rest. So I can't do that. So that's a conqueror will make it. But a more than conqueror comes back to fetch the rest. Hy het nog gesien wat daar gebeur. Daar's 'n different opportunity there. Do you understand? So, I mean, for me, I mean, there's 3 other doctors that students that I assisted, they are now doctors.
Wow.
Right? Through Manenberg. So, it was very easy now, internship and so forth, they are scared, hey doc, they posted me here in that province and this province. And I'm like, don't worry. Pick up my phone, call one of my buddies that I know, listen, this person is coming there.
Internship.
Right? Have a good look.
Yeah.
Simple. There's a feedback, there's a mentor. Somebody can relate. Now, why are we scared to mention our names, man? Because as hy eers anders gaan sê, my broer, ek is van daai mense, man.
Doc, I know you before Doc, right?
Yeah.
So, you were not always a person to display that. What happened mentally? Like, nah, ek ga nou die wys, man. What happened to you psychologically?
It's not, you know, like I'm saying is, I was always discreet. The reason being is, this community will crucify you, but they will also support you. Right? So it depends on which side of the line you land with this community. Right? Okay. So sometimes you must keep things quiet. So that if you fail, I had this major fear, I'm not gonna make it through medicine. I had this major fear that dropout rate is high.
Ja.
I had this major fear, what if I don't pass my final exams? Wat gaan die mense sê? Ek kan mos self ding, maar waar gaan ze kan maak word 'n dokter? Die bly in Middelburg of so but I didn't allow that to happen. I made sure that I passed. And it's only after I passed and after I achieved and after I saw how other people invite you because your story is refreshing and motivating, I decided, but listen, but my own people around me is not benefiting. That's when I decided to come out. You know, I always drove a Toyota. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with a Toyota, but we know it comes with a certain, you know, financial bracket, if you want to call it in that way.
Yeah.
Then I got an RSI to soep ek het maar nog bietjie opsit, maar toe die 12 is in. You know, sakkie kar en whatever. Just so that,
plate, Mr. Ortel. No.
Well, just so that it can be, you know, like a little bit more fancier. You know? I didn't measure like what that did. But obviously the minute I started progressing to other name brand cars, it put me into a different dimension. And the good thing for me was, ladies came to me and said, "Ja, ek wil soos Doc wees, man."
Okay.
So at the time, you know, it doesn't hit you, man. But the more I sit and I see, because I mean, what do we do at this point in time? I mean, I have role models that I look at and I'm like, I want to be like that guy.
Okay.
Because it's of what you see. So sometimes you don't have that conversation with that person, but it's of what you see. So that's why for me, what's important is, it's what we portray, man. It's what we portray. People see it. People see it, so you have to portray the firmness.
You have to portray it, man.
There's no other easy way. You can't say, nee, ek gaan by huis, laat ek maar relax, maar na buite, dan gaan ek my ding wys. No. Charity starts alone. Ek meen, nou was jy ook wat jy I mean, I'm not speaking out, but I mean, as ons nou sokke, ons is hier onder, dan gaan het aan, meneer.
Ja.
Tot morgenoggend toe.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That wasn't going to be sustainable for me as I grew. Do you understand? Because as you grow, you lose certain things. I had to lose certain things because it was going to weigh me down. So, what the fortunate part for me out of that was, I got experience of the streets. I know what the streets is like.
Yeah.
I see what happens after hours. You know, I know what alcohol leads to. I'm not against it. I'm not against it because I mean even doctors tell you can drink moderately, you know, if you work out the dose. Because none of these people here work out the dose of what they smoke. None of them work out the dose of what they drink. Maar hulle wil jou sê hulle raak siek. But if you give them a tablet, dan word hulle weet die pil gemaak. Where does it come from? Who's the lab? What is in it? Etc. etc.
The vaccine.
What's in it? Is it salt water? Is it the mark of the lab? Is it this? Is it that? You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how people are. Now, what I'm saying is, what education has taught me is that there's always different angles, man, and avenues. There's not just one road in Manenberg. There's many streets in Manenberg. There's not just one court in Manenberg. There's many courts in Manenberg. So it depends how you want to look at something. And my answer to you is education helps shape that. Because education sets your ceiling. It doesn't set your foundation.
Doc, 2 questions before we go. No? I mean,
Is it already that time? Now you must report some about the next 3 seasons.
Doc, to the class of 2025,
Yeah.
right? They're currently writing the mid-examination. Just some encouragement, some advice to the class of 2025.
Look, if you don't have matric, you're nothing. Let's just put it simply. I see people going to night school now, no offense. People go to night school now because if you ask them why they're doing night school now, they say, if you ask my net, if I only did work hard at that time. Now remember, the only commodity that's the most expensive in life is time. So you are there now. You don't have other responsibilities now. Your responsibility now is to study. Your responsibility now is to get through that exam. Your responsibility now is to sit and get chair sores. Kyk in die hospitaal kry mense bed sores of by die huis as hulle lang lê. Jy moet lang sit man, jou hol moet seer wees. Like what else are you gonna do? That's why I ask people, let's ask people the straight question. If you're not going to study now, what else are you gonna do? What else is gonna occupy your time? Who are you fooling? Knowledge is about acquiring it, and there's a time limit for acquiring knowledge. I can't put it anywhere else.
Doc, also, what do you say to those that have this, mindset? I can't study further. They don't want to fund me.
I will say they've got a poor mindset. Because why must you get money from somebody? Why can't you print your own money? Why can't you make your own money? If I look at Bannenberg here, this is an economy on its own.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give people ideas now, but this is an economy on its own. I mean, there's other stuff that I do outside of being a doctor that brings me passive income.
Yeah.
So, if you say you want to wait for money from somebody, then of course I understand where you are. You're waiting for a handout.
There we go. And then,
So isn't that, hold on.
I was wondering.
Isn't, you see, now sometimes I'm worried, man, if we just hand out food in Manenberg. Because we are teaching people that they must get all the time. So there's a fine line.
Yeah.
There's a fine line to just giving all the time. En as ek kos uitgee, wie's eerste in die lyn? As die manne wat op die goede is, man. It's not even kids and elderly and so on. Because those people are too shy. Hulle wil nie baklei met die mense wat voor in die lyn staan.
yeah.
So shouldn't it be that when we hand out food, we must be able to discern who's the people that need it. Discern. I'm not saying decide. I'm saying discern. So whether you're Muslim, Christian, Indian, Hindu, whatever, you believe in a higher power.
I get you.
So you need to discern who needs this. Because the part that is bad for me is that our people expect for free all the time. Now that's the same people that want to make money.
Yeah.
Doc, in the beginning of the pod, you mentioned that you want to explain Cape Flats.
Oh yeah, Cape
briefly.
Flats.
Briefly.
So even as recent as 2 weeks ago, I had some colleagues here from a different part of the country, and they said they want to see the Cape Flats.
Okay.
So I'm doing my the Oliver Tambo Fellowship in Health Leadership and Management at the University of Cape Town, the prestigious University of Cape Town. So my name has become synonymous with UCT.
Hey!
Because it's in the shadow of the mountain. I mean that word, but that phrase might sound familiar to some people. I went to Rhodes High, so I mean the motto is persevere. And in the school song, there's a verse that says, "In the shadow of the mountain lies our hope, which is our school."
I wonder.
Friends of love and understanding. But anyway, I must have means while we're here. But the Cape Flats is, people think that these flats, die core, soos ons nou sê, Aletta Core, Beatrix,
Yeah.
Choice Core, whatever, they think that's the Cape Flats. But that's not the Cape Flats. If you stand on Table Mountain and you look towards the other mountain, which is Hottentots Holland Mountain, the landscape is flat. So you've got homework. I hope some Cape Townians knew that. If you stand on Table Mountain and you look towards the other mountain, the landscape is flat. That's why they call it the Cape Flats. Because where did our people live before? On that side. I know my family comes from Constantia. It's that side of the mountain. And they lived, Constantia's literally on the mountain. So they were used to mountainous areas.
There we go.
Then they got moved to the Cape Flats.
Thank you for that.
Doc, 2 questions.
Go for it, my brother.
Mr. Mayor asked me this question
Yes.
on this podcast. Doc, what would you consider to be a lot of money in terms of a number?
Very difficult to say, man. Because that's a question I ask myself at the moment. If I charge somebody $600 for a consult, I ask, is this going to change my financial position?
Okay.
So it depends your context as to a deficit. Do you understand? So it depends the context that you're in. So if I can give out of abundance, then that's enough, because that's why you have a bond. You know, if I just take you back to farming, a bond is where you store.
Doc, I'm sorry, Doc, for the cutting you, but I need a total. Don't give me a philosophical answer. I need a number.
Look, I'm very bad, man, of the millions, because I know million has 7 numbers, man. I don't know what trillion and millions mean, you know what I mean? But I'll say anything with 9 or 10 digits.
Okay, so Doc, it is either that you're able to have that, right? But then you're never able to enter hospital again. You're never able to practice medicine again. You have to give up your career completely. Which one are you doing?
No, I'll take my career. I mean, I had that question 2 weeks ago in class as well.
Is it?
No, I had that question. So, the career, the connecting with people, looking into people's eyes, hearing their stories. My brother,
Priceless.
it's priceless. I mean, silence you can also hear. Think about it. Silence is also heard, because your ore sê vir jou is doodstil. So you can interpret there's nothing happening. You understand? Silence is also heard. So sometimes you must listen to your patients without them saying anything.
True.
So for me, that encounters is priceless. And remember what I said now, I'm having an opportunity. It won't be forever. But currently, I'm having an opportunity to lead people, or to show them a way. Now, it's a way that I've trod already. Now, there's going to come a climax, because I'm only going to be able to take them to where I know.
Here we go.
I can't take them further what I don't know.
Here we
But
go.
somebody else might come along and say, right, here's the next step.
Doc, I'm putting this blessing upon your life today, right? I foresee that you will become the Minister of Health. I'm putting this blessing upon your life. So you are announced Minister of Health in South Africa. What's the first thing you're going to implement?
No, man, I must, my bodyguard must be from Menenberg. Let's start there. No, my bodyguard must be from Menenberg. No, I think, this is not off the cards. Obviously, it's an unprepared speech, but it's stuff that I was thinking of all the time. If I should have the power, I would make sure that people from these communities get opportunities to sort of study medicine and nursing and so. Because it's a contextual thing. Do you understand? If people come from this neck of the woods and you give them the academics is there, the knowledge is there. There's standard knowledge that you must know. There is standard knowledge that you're going to have to know. We're not talking now about researchers and people being brilliant. Medicine is practicing every day. So, yes, I understand universities uses like an academic profile, and your marks must be good and you must have a good acumen and so on. I understand that. I'm not running away from that. But sometimes you get that student that gets a C or a D. I'm just making an example. And if you really look for them and invest in them, you can turn that C into a A.
Thank you, Dr. Randall. Absolutely amazing, man. There we go. Doc from Menenberg.
Is that it?
That's it. Doc, anything else you want to share?
The time is too short. No, thanks for the opportunity, guys. I really do appreciate it. And keep on doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Doc.
It's through these platforms that we get a voice.
There we go.
Okay, back in the day, there was only so few opportunities to have your voice heard. Now there are more platforms. And I want to say to the people that's going to listen to this, you can reach out to us, man. I'm saying us because this is a collective. You got the twins here, you got myself, there's other people in the community. We can do stuff, we can connect you, we can plug you.
There we go.
Remember back in the day, we used to sing all the American songs, PDD and so on. People are rapping our songs now.
Here we go.
From the hood.
Heel choir.
We started to know if I walk to. But anyway, guys, we are available. So just reach out. Happy to inspire, happy to tell our stories, and happy to produce or be part of the next leadership that's being produced, because our time will expire.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, TwinPod.